there, folks. Text the Black Pants Legion. As you can see over here, people are firing off to make sure the Chinese can't play this game. And by Chinese, I mean West Taiwanese. And if anyone takes offense at that, they can blow me. I like to make jokes and shit post, but some people take me entirely too seriously. So here we go. Text the Black Pants Legion here, fighting North Korea. Looks like we are bounding into their side. Naturally, we won't be moving north of the border because that is a bad thing for Americans to do. We've had some issues in the past going up here, you know, Chosin and all that. Turns out that, believe it or not, only about 6% of North Korea is arable land. That is reasonable land use land for farming and such. The rest of it is mountains and rock, which, if people have been digging in for a while, kind of makes that a little difficult. So we're going to try to take over Seoul. We're going to do some heart and soul is the idea. And the Americans are coming into the war. Hope you guys are having a good time out there. Hope you guys are having a Merry Crimbus, Chris Mahana Kwanzaa. That way you can say you've done everything. Looks like my Seoul command unit is an LAV for some reason. I'll fix that. We're going to put an Oliver Hazard Perry here, and then I'm going to just bring a bunch of these out and just shell the living bejesus out of people, because nothing says you fucked up like the U.S. Navy in your backyard, dropping off Marines. So that's what I'm going to do, is we're going to do that, and then we're going to have some Scout Cobras going forward with the ships, and then we are going to put a, let's see, I'm going to use this LAV. I'm going to have him swim ashore, because that's smart, and I'm sure these things are fine in open water, right? But remember, if you doubt that, even the Higgins boat was marginally seaworthy. So let's not throw hands here. Let's understand what we're getting into. All right, so the next part is to bring infantry ashore, which I will do once. Yeah, that's actually going to be a lot trickier than I thought. All right, so we're going to have to roll ashore with these guys. I'm going to just pretend that these guys have been coming in for a while. All right, so Cobra, we're going to bring you there. Yep, we're going to bring the Oliver Hazard Perrys up, and we're just going to just light everything up that we don't like, that's different than us, with missiles, because that is the American way. And here we go. Oh, cool, nice helicopters. So how do they do against, you know, standard missiles? Good? Bad? How about Sea Whiz? They doing all right with no? 76 mil high velocity? No? None of that? No, didn't think so. Anyways. There we go. I know, I'm going to have to move one of you guys back to cover this part to capture it, because that's how the game works. If there's not a magic man in the magic box with a magic radio, you are magically fucked. So we're also going to move ships out to better flank, or at least protect our front. And that way, when we roll in here, it's all ours for the taking. Unfortunately, someone is using the missiles, the long-range ones too. They're firing from cover here. Aha! So, could be infantry firing guided missiles. Okay, there goes a command unit. That's not good. That's very not good. They have fallen back and are doing the smart. Just wait until the Marines get up there, and then they will be doing the dead. Because one thing I've learned about Marines is they really don't like it when you shoot at their guys. They really tend not to. Now, let's just ignore the U.S. Navy running our guys over like they ram everything else nowadays. I guess that's the fashion, as it were. I'm going to bring this Cobra over so I can spot these motherfuckers. Oh, yes. Flares work on guided missiles. I think he's just pressing the button because it makes him feel better. And that's fine. I think we all do the same thing, you know? We hit the submit report to Windows, even though we know that will never do anything and has never done anything. I think we know full well that some of the things we do are just exercises in futility, but it makes you feel better, and that's what's important. All right, so it looks like the fully automatic grenade launchers are working, as they should. That would surprise no one. Now, I'm going to set the Marines out and tell them to go in here and motivate those gentlemen at bayonet point. We're going to motivate the shit out of these guys, and it looks like they don't want to play the game anymore, which I understand. Fighting Marines in a city environment is a bad idea. They're crazy. Alright. Looks like that's going down. We got that guy getting smoked. As it should be. Alright. Looks like they put up a lot of guys with anti-tank weapons in here, so if I'd rolled up with armor, it would have been a shit show. That's why you always need your infantry, or the Panzer Grenadiers, or whatever you want to call them. Infantry is the tank man's friend. Most people don't know this, but I'm telling you because it's important. Infantry is the tank man's friend when they're on the same side. Now, when they're on the opposite side, they're crunchies, right? And I know a lot of tankers out there will be like, all infantry are crunchies, and I'm like, till you throw a track and need to repair it, then infantry are helpers. Infantry are crunchies until you need them. Then your perception's gonna change a bit, you know? That's one thing I've learned is I find that people have a lot of very interesting perceptions on conflict, especially in the what I like to call post-Call of Duty generation. A lot of people grew up with a very skewed view of the War on Terror, and having remembered 9/11, having been, you know, an adult when it happened, I will say that it was really interesting to see this, like, milsim-y group kind of come out of the War on Terror and kind of be a strange cultural reflection of it. I know they existed before that. I mean, shit, I did World War II and Civil War reenactment, Revolutionary War reenactment, stuff like that, but as a historian, that's just the nerd stuff we do. You know, we love to sit around a campfire and be like, ah, yes, hardtack, the other tooth-breakers, and we have fun. But I found a lot of people got into the milsurp thing, or not milsurp, sorry, milsim. Milsurp's different, but that's all disappeared. I think that a lot of people got into the milsim thing, and I saw a lot of the kids come out of it with the Call of Duty stuff. Like, after Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out, I saw a lot more people on the gun range with tactical stuff and less technical stuff. I'm not sure if that was the cause or if that just happened to be there at the same time. Because sometimes, you know, causality is a weird thing. Sometimes people are just there at the wrong point in time and, you know, causality. They just happen to be there when the ball falls. So, I'm not sure if I can blame it on a single thing. I'm just using it to frame my reference and understanding of it, which I think most people, most reasonable people would understand. Some people don't, because they, you know, internet. Some people think the internet is a place to have serious arguments, and to make serious things happen. I grew up with the internet being not that. I remember when it wasn't, and I don't think it ever really should be. I find that when you treat things more serious than they are, they kind of have control over your life. And I'm saying that from someone who does have mental illness, so keep in mind, everything I say is for me, and with a grain of salt, please. Ooh, that's not good. Alright, Corsairs, I know you can't do mock, but you do have napalm, lay it on heavy, it's shake and bake, and I helped. Hey, when are supplies not supplies? When they're on fire. Now, I did notice, oh my god, look at that, look at that, look at that. You see that? A whole gaggle fuck of them. A whole gaggle fuck. That's the number. I know that there's appropriate words for everything, like a murder of ravens or a this or a that, but when it comes down to like armored equipment, they'll just say it's a company, it's a platoon, and I'm like, that's boring. I want something fun. I want like a briefcase of BMPs, you know? Oh yes, that's a briefcase of them. Oh, look, he brought out the Tokchan. That's nice. It's a bit short, but you can direct fire. I mean, that's your choice. Oh, he is crossing the river. He's bringing up BTRs, but he's bringing up the open top one, because nothing says quality like an open top on an APC. Ah, yes, they're coming down the road. It appears that the Autobreda 76mm rapid fire is making presto work of them. Well, I know he's dropping lots of guys off in here, and I know where my Marines are, so I've just decided to paint by numbers, and the number's napalm, so we're gonna do that. I've also got my close support helicopter here, and I'm just gonna make sure everything northish of my position is gone, which is reasonable. Ah, yes, the infantry has arrived. Ah, yes. Now the shake and bake. Isn't it so nice? Look at that. Just nice, even coating of flame. As it should be. You know? Ooh. Ooh, that was not good. He is using some longer reach artillery. Now, that guy's being mean. Seems like the enemy commander's had himself a bit of an anger. Well... let's put 2 prowlers up and see if we spot any radar-guided missiles, and if not, I'll send the Corsairs in again and burn them to the ground. Heart and soul, da 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 da. All right, waiting. Nothing. I can bring in this Phantom 2 to fuck those guys up. And then, I can be like, guess what, boys? It's on fire! Aha, radar right there. Pongay 2. Not sure what 2 is in North Korean. I'm not sure how the languages have devolved. Or evolved. Or volved. I don't know. I'm not a linguist. But... I can only imagine that if you have a country split into 2 parts with the same base root language, that there would be lots and lots and lots of little changes based on the exposure rate of new words. That would be pretty wild, huh? Because there wouldn't be a comparison to like a lot of the words in the West, like email and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. And I know the French had kind of the same thing with some of their language. They did that Société Française or whatever that governs the use of their language. Oh shit, they're gonna fuck up my Phantom. God damn it. God damn you, Shilka. Ah yes, the Shilka. That which reminded us everything we knew about anti-aircraft guns was wrong. We tried really hard. We tried super hard to develop like gun-driven anti-aircraft artillery in the West. We really did. Sergeant York, the Duster, all these other things, and they all were just like, I mean, Pontiac made a 37mm autocannon. Like, it was great, but it couldn't carry much ammo, and the technology was very basic. Let's just say that. And it was ingenious, but it was certainly ahead of its time, and certainly a little immature when it came down to like its actual ability to do its job. But it could have taken some time to prepare. But then the Russians just made the brain-dead simple, easy one that everyone seems to like because it seems to work, and it's brain-dead simple, and it does a good job. And if they blow it up, it's cheap. I mean, a lot of people make fun of the Soviet system, but one thing to keep in mind, because the Soviet system did have a lot of problems. I mean, it did. But there were some things that they got right when it came down to industrial base. There were some things they really got right when it came down to weapons manufacture. And there are some things that I think that need to be acknowledged, like I am taking a very in-depth subject and I am making it very, very simple for the sake of argument. And that requires me to paint with very broad strokes, which some historians will love to well actually me on, and then I will retort with the full lecture. But typically, for the sake of pleasant discussion and argument, I try to keep things as generalist as possible and not to go too deep down a rabbit hole unless I feel that that is absolutely critically necessary. You know what I mean? If it's absolutely critically necessary, then sure, for the framing of an argument like Tex Talks Battletech, where people want to see that sort of thing, I can absolutely go all in. But for the sake of this, I won't. This is just more an interesting observation. But the thing to keep in mind is that the MiG-21, while, ooh, man, they just blew up my Navy SEALs. That sucks. The MiG-21, while not the best plane in the world, is pretty good for what it is, and certainly good for its era, and certainly has enjoyed a very long lifespan, like properly long, decent lifespan, because it is simple, robust, easy to work on, easy to train, forgivable, or forgiving when it comes down to, like, things that it can and can't do well, and, it's easy to learn on. A lot of countries use it because it is robust, reliable, and easy to work on. And the thing is that the Soviet system mass-produced MiG-21s at such a pace that, in the end, they were cheaper to make than the BMP by a lot, which is saying something. When you can make something that is a supersonic jet aircraft cheaper to make than your average armored personnel carrier, that's amazing from an industrial standpoint. Now, it does mean a lot of standardization of design, and it certainly does mean building something that has less bells and whistles than, say, a shoebox, but it does make Western intervention often more hassle than it's worth. So I think it's kind of interesting to study these things, and a lot of people will, of course, take my point of view on things and try to say it as I'm endorsing or supporting X or Y. As a historian, I feel it's necessary to kind of look at all points and try to see what went right, what went wrong, and what we can learn from. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm not going to say the Soviets got right, least of which being freedom of speech and, as well, access to quality foreign material for entertainment purposes. And I'm talking film, music, books. I hate that shit. I hate the fact that you have people like Stanislaus Lem, who are virtually unknown in the West, who were incredible writers. I think that it's a real shame that, Tarkovsky doesn't have a wider understanding and appreciation in the West, mainly because of the Cold War. But these people were fighting against censorship as well in their own way. And you'll find that a lot of these people were very brave. They tried to express themselves in a system that didn't allow it. And they said a lot of beautiful things in their own way, and I think that's worthy of examination. One of the things I really enjoy about history is, of course, the endurance of the human spirit, which is, some people will say, what kind of histories are Tex Talks Battletech? And I ultimately will try to say, even if people disagree with me, that these histories are very human histories. They are, they're stories about people. Now, the situation that these people may find themselves in, or the war or conflict they may find themselves driven by, is, of course, far in the future and far removed from any current, shall we say, people living or dead. But there's certainly inspirations and there's certainly cycles, and Battletech is one of those settings that absolutely beautifully recognizes that. It's one of those settings I just love because, in the end, what I appreciate about Battletech is that it is a setting where the only thing that really seems to matter in the end is who wins. I mean, it's one of those things where you'll find these vast cultures and these vast different ideologies wage war, wage conflict. They'll plot against each other and tussle with each other and fight against each other. And they will tear each other to pieces. And in the end, it's a human story. It's why we find Shakespeare and many other things very interesting, as though, Macbeth was certainly about a different time and a different place. The aspirations of those seeking power are no different, really. And the failings of the human condition, such great thoughts as wanting and deserving more in positions of power. This is all old ideas, nothing new under the sun. But a lot of people will poo-poo the older stuff and go, oh, well, that's just that's that rich people shit. And it's like, no, you need to read the classics. And I don't mean just the Greeks. I mean, you need to thoroughly read and understand the classics. You need to understand the wealth of literature out there. We live in an information age with the bulk of human knowledge at our fingertips. I find it somewhat distressing people act like we're living in an age of true ignorance, when that ignorance, if real, is, well, largely self-imposed. One of my fans put it best. He said, I'm a cynical humanist. I believe in humanity, but I think, on average, most people are kind of shit. At least some of the meaner ones. But that's a story for another day. Looks like I'm cleaning up pretty good in Seoul here. You could say I'm a Seoul man. Even though this isn't Seoul, this is the outskirts. You don't want to fight in a big city, ever. It's a bad idea. Like that would be a disaster. That would be turbo bad to try to fight in a big city. It would be catastrophic for a loss of life, but also from the perspective of welcome to Casualty Town. It would be very bad. I'm gonna try to take this from him because I think it's funny. All right, so it looks like I've got these guys more or less on the ropes. All I need to do is finish them off. Now I have a minute left, which sucks. But what I'm going to do is cause as much catastrophic damage in that minute as possible. Now, if they want to shoot my command unit, that's fine. I'm going to shoot back. I'm also going to drop napalm on them because fuck them. Oh man, they're shooting back with big guns. That's not good. Those 14.5 ZPUs are no joke. A lot of Americans are like, oh, it's a 50 cal. No, that's a 50 cal plus. It's like somebody who thinks they can take a punch from a professional boxer. You know, they're like, oh, no, I can take that. It's the same thing as getting punched by a guy at the gym. I'm like, no. No. Some people ass kick on a professional level, and you should always be aware that there is another ass kicking machine out there that is willing to fuck your shit up for free. All you have to do is make an appointment, and that's kind of where the fuck around and find out mentality comes from. I think a lot of people are just it's easy to talk trash. It's a harder thing though to realize that somebody might not like that. All right. So it's a draw. However, I managed to wipe out his artillery and his surface-to-air missiles, and it looks like he does have Koksans left and Shilkas. So this is interesting. His infantry, I know I tore a lot of those guys apart, so I think he'll have a bad time trying to get back in here, and I'll just keep bringing in reinforcements. This will be fun for me.